We may be facing another scandal on par with the Project Veritas Epstein leak. Newsweek reporter quits, claiming outlet suppressed story on global chemical weapons watchdog. Now, to understand what's going on here, I bring you now to a segment from Tucker Carlson. Newsweek reports, Tucker Carlson claims there's no evidence Assad was behind deadly chemical attack in Syria or that it even happened. In reality, the story is about a potential cover-up and a manipulation of data. Let me read you the story from Newsweek on purpose, because then we can see how a Newsweek reporter quit, claiming that they shut down his reporting, which may have actually backed this up. This is significant. Many of you may be saying, why do I care? Well, because it almost got us into World War III, to be a little hyperbolic, but it almost got us into war with Syria. I mean, we actually have ground troops there. Many people were saying Bashar al-Assad was gassing his own people, using chemical weapons on his own people. And this presents a little bit of doubt. Now, Tucker might take it a little bit further than I would. But for now, I'm not so much concerned with the conclusions about what happened in Syria, though it is rather significant, but the impact on the media. When journalists try reporting the news, and Newsweek said, it's a conspiracy theory. And so he resigned when they refused to run it. But take a look at this. Newsweek reports, on Tuesday evening's Tucker Carlson Tonight on Fox News, the hosts claim that there's no evidence Syrian President Bashar Assad was behind the 2018 attack on Douma and argued the attack might never have happened. Carlson has been pushing this narrative since the Syrian suburb was attacked in April 2018, yada yada. They say during Carlson's show, he replayed a monologue from 2018 during which he urged viewers to be skeptical of the attack because geniuses are making it up, saying, universal bipartisan agreement on anything is usually the first sign that something deeply unwise is about to happen. If only because there is nobody left to ask skeptical questions. And we should be skeptical of this, starting with the poison gas attack itself. All the geniuses tell us that Assad killed those children. But do they really know that? Of course they don't really know that. They're making it up. They have no real idea what happened. Well, I'll walk that back a little bit. I think Tucker is often a bit bombastic. In reality, we have investigators took a look and said, to the best of our ability, here's what we believe happened by recreating, some of the circumstances, by looking for chemicals and evidence and videos. As it turns out, there was a report about discrepancies, and many people are now questioning the results of that investigation. Fox News host has renewed his skepticism of the Douma incident in light of an email that WikiLeaks reportedly published from a member of the OPCW who accused the team of covering up discrepancies. The OPCW was tasked by the UN to investigate the attack and find the responsible parties. They say, like Carlson, Russia and the country's allies have used the email to question the OPCW's conclusions that chlorine was likely dropped from an aircraft in Douma. Some have also promoted a misinformation campaign that reportedly hopes to discredit the OPCW's findings in an effort to absolve Assad. So they go on to say that Bellingcat discovered it was an interim report, that this was before they released their final conclusions. And so that's why I think it's important to walk things back. There is doubt here. That's important, though. Should we be getting into a conflict when you have stories like this? Well, let me show you something. Right now, most people are going to say, or actually, I'll give you a better example. Media Matters is smearing Tucker Carlson, saying he's pushing conspiracy theories because that was about an interim report. You got to look at Bellingcat. Okay, hold on. I don't know. I really don't. I can say there's some doubt. I'll defer to Bellingcat. They seem to be an expert on many of these issues. Fine. But what about this? Newsweek reporter quits, claiming the outlet's suppressed story on global chemical weapons watchdog. Could it be that following this publication, new information would come to light that would be damaging to that narrative? And so Newsweek said no. Keeping in mind, Newsweek ran a story sort of debunking Carlson's claims, talking about Bellingcat and pushing back. Now, it's fair to say, push back on Carlson's claims. I think he's a bit too, I don't want to say hyperbolic, but I believe he may jump the gun a little bit as an opinion guy as opposed to, say, an investigative reporter. But I can respect that. He's a guy who's got his opinion, and I feel like, in my role, I'll say, well, hold on, okay? He's going to say that, I'll counter. So I think it'd be more responsible to walk things back. Fine. He deserves some criticism for that. Here's the big problem. How can we really know if Newsweek will not even allow a reporter to publish information on this? Check this out. They say this journalist Tarek Haddad said on Saturday that he had resigned from his position at Newsweek because the outlet suppressed details potentially inconvenient to the U.S. government surrounding a chemical weapons watchdog report on the 2018 attack in Syria. Quote, yesterday, I resigned from Newsweek after my attempts to publish newsworthy revelations about the leaked OPCW letter were refused for no valid reason. They say Haddad's tweet came as the OPCW defended itself amid concerns that its reporting on April 7th, 2018, Syria, something that prompted retaliation from the U.S. and other major powers. WikiLeaks had published an internal email raising concerns about the organization's findings. Tarek added, I have collected evidence of how they suppressed the story in addition to evidence from another case where info inconvenient to the U.S. government was removed, though it was factually correct. In a statement to Fox News, a Newsweek spokesperson said, the writer pitched a conspiracy theory rather than an idea for objective reporting. Newsweek editors rejected the pitch. Here's the thing. Journalists are supposed to investigate conspiracy theories. Wasn't it CNN who recently published the claim that the lawyer for Lev Parnas claimed he heard from Viktor Shokin that Devin Nunes traveled to Vienna? Whoa, you want to talk about publishing conspiracy theories? So why is it that when you have a story about Devin Nunes, they will go hearsay, hearsay, hearsay. And the impeachment trial of Donald Trump, hearsay all the way home. But Newsweek will reject a conspiracy theory when this guy is claiming he's a legitimate reporter with legitimate information. He says, I plan on publishing these details in full shortly. However, after asking my editors for comment as his journalistic practice, I received an email reminding me of confidentiality clauses in my contract, i.e., I was threatened with legal action, he said. Well, one thing that journalists tend to do in situations like this is just leak the story to someone else and then say, oh no, I have no idea how they got the information. He added that he was seeking legal advice, at the very least would publish the information he had without divulging the confidential information. Fox News did not immediately receive a response from an email address found on what appeared to be Haddad's personal website. Haddad's resignation marked what appeared to be the second controversial departure from Newsweek in recent weeks. The outlet previously caught the president's criticism when it published an inaccurate story about his Thanksgiving plans. Newsweek fired the writer, Jessica Kwong, behind that story. While the details are unclear, Kwong pushed back on the perception that the story was entirely her fault. It was her fault. So I'll give you some context here. She was it's important information in media corruption. So let me just preface this. There's something people do called pre-writing, where they have an idea of something that's going to happen. Say, Trump, Thanksgiving. They write the story before it happens, assuming the likelihood that they're correct will be, high. She was tasked with writing a story about Donald Trump on Thanksgiving and wrote it the day before. How do you write news about something that didn't happen yet? Well, she wrote he's going to be golfing and tweeting and did the stupid, same old smear against the president. And it's not the worst smear in the world. But then it turned out Trump was in Afghanistan, making her story completely false. So she ended up getting fired for that. She blamed on the editor. No, it's your fault. The editor shouldn't have published a pre-write, but he did. So, there you go. Actually, I don't even know if the editor published the pre-write. The editor may have just received the email at 11 a.m. and said, cool, publish, not knowing what was going on. The writer should have been fired. And a lot of journalists have tried being like, it's the editor's fault. No. Journalism today is broken and corrupt. And let me read a little bit more here. They say, actually, no, I'm sorry. It just goes on to talk about Jessica Kwong. Let's see who this guy, Tarek Haddad is. I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong, but he is on Twitter, 4,000 followers from the UK, journalist for Newsweek. Let's pull up his page. And he's got a bunch of articles. Doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary, but he just resigned because Newsweek is refusing to allow him to publish legitimate information. This is how it works. Look at Amy Robach. Amy Robach, Project Veritas, they exposed that they shut down the Epstein story. Where is it? If she was justified in her reporting, where is that story? If Newsweek is going to write that Bellingcat said X, Tucker Carlson is wrong, and so is Media Matters, I have to question. Now, I know Newsweek is left-wing biased. It is what it is. This may be, you know what, man? We're going to be brought into wars. The New York Times, they lied. Or I should say they were wrong about WMDs. And we should have trusted them. And we got involved in a war that to this day just keeps going. And now we have this. They roped us into interfering in Syria. We don't know exactly what happens. Perhaps the OPCW report is justified and fine. Okay. Trump fired 59 Tomahawk missiles at Syria over stories like this. And now we have a reporter. Newsweek won't let him tell the story. They're calling him a conspiracy theorist. That's what you get when you ask questions. You cannot do journalism without being, to a certain degree, a conspiracy theorist. That's a fact. There was a saying, I can't remember who it's from, but a good journalist starts off as a conspiracy theorist, but then works from point A to figure out what the facts can prove. A journalist is going to say, these emails were leaked. I wonder what happened. And by doubting the official narrative, they will call you a conspiracy. Why won't you believe the government? Why would the government lie? What do you mean the government story isn't true? Why would you pursue this? Like with Sweden. When Donald Trump said last night in Sweden, I said, okay, I'll go there and check it out. And I was inundated with messages from the press. People I used to work with saying, don't do it. What do you mean don't do it? I'm going to go do journalism. No. Believe the official narrative. Don't investigate. That's what they say. So he pitches a story and they shut him down. And let's see how far back this guy's record goes. I'm going to scroll down. See how many. So what you're seeing right now, and I'll explain to you, is Newsweek articles written by this guy. And it appears that he's got 6 pages so far. Let's see how far back this guy's tenure at Newsweek goes. It goes back 6 pages. His first story from September. So it doesn't look like he's been there very long, but he's written a lot. His first story that appears on Newsweek is about Jordan Peterson checking into rehab. He looks like a lost puppy. I wouldn't call that particularly a positive thing for Jordan Peterson. So I don't know too much about who this guy is. He's followed by some conservatives, some leftists. He's followed by Tulsi Gabbard. Surprise, surprise. A journalist who's actually going to do some reporting on international issues, which may debunk the pro-war narrative, was told by Newsweek, zip it, and he was forced to resign. The media is corrupt. I'll end by saying this. The media establishment and the Democratic establishment are essentially the same thing, as far as I'm concerned. I'll leave it there. I don't need to go. The story speaks for itself. I'll see you all at 4 p.m. on the main channel, youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out.